Urgent Dallas Cowboys fans, do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel because here we bring you daily videos with the latest Dallas Cowboys updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Hey, Cowboys Nation! Today, we're diving deep into a game that's been the talk of the NFL world for days now. A game filled with controversy, high stakes, and moments that could define the Dallas Cowboys' entire season. We're talking about that intense Thursday night clash against the Detroit Lions at Ford Field, a game that quite frankly left many of us with more questions than answers. We're going to analyze everything from the controversial calls and their impact to what this means for the Cowboys moving forward. So, grab your popcorn, get comfortable, and let's unpack this story from every angle. Because this isn't just about one game, it's about the future of a team that's been fighting hard to get back into playoff contention. Now, I know you're probably wondering what exactly happened. Well, the game had all the drama you could ask for. The Lions managed to secure an important win, which keeps their playoff hopes alive, but it wasn't without its fair share of officiating controversies and critical moments that went against the Cowboys. The night was filled with questionable calls, missed penalties, and moments of frustration that spilled over into post-game comments, especially from Dak Prescott, the team's leader under center. And believe me, this game has set off a wave of debates among fans, analysts, and even the referees themselves about the integrity and consistency of NFL officiating. So, what was the core of this controversy? To put it simply, the officiating mishaps seemed to favor the Lions at crucial junctures while also significantly impacting the Cowboys' chances of mounting a comeback. Early in the game, there were missed calls that could have changed the course of the game. For example, Jacob Sailors, a linebacker for Detroit, had a rough moment on a kickoff return where he had his head dug into the turf after the whistle. A potential head injury situation that the officials seemed to overlook. That's often a red flag because player safety should always come first. But the bigger issue was a clear offsides penalty committed by Detroit that was not called, which would have given Dallas a first down and possibly shifted momentum early on. Instead, Detroit was allowed to punt, and the game kept its tense back-and-forth rhythm. But perhaps the most significant controversy came in the second half. And that's where things got really heated. Two offensive pass interference calls on Cowboys players, George Pickens and Jake Ferguson, were perceived by many, including the broadcasters and analysts, as questionable at best. These penalties essentially stalled promising drives, forcing Dallas into field goals instead of touchdowns. And that's a big deal, especially considering how close the game was at that point. The penalty on Ferguson in particular drew a lot of criticism. Dak Prescott, who has been one of the most consistent quarterbacks this season, was visibly upset after the game, and his frustration boiled over when talking about that call. That one was bad, Prescott admitted, visibly annoyed. I'm sorry that one was bad. His words echoed the sentiment of many fans who watched the game and felt that the officiating was inconsistent and at times unfair. Now, let's pause for a moment and analyze what this means. When you have a game so tightly contested with only a few points separating the teams, a single call can dramatically alter the outcome. Prescott pointed out that the penalty ended a drive deep in Lions territory with just minutes remaining and could have potentially led to a touchdown that would have put Dallas ahead, or at least tied the game. Instead, they settled for a field goal, which in the grand scheme of things didn't matter much because Detroit managed to march down and score again. But that sequence illustrates just how pivotal officiating can be in such high-stakes moments. It also raises questions about consistency. Why was that call made and was it justified? The rules analyst for the Prime broadcast, Terry McCauley, mentioned that he didn't see the penalty at all and believed Ferguson was simply executing a swim move, which is a legal move in pass rush scenarios. This discrepancy fuels ongoing debates about officiating standards and the need for clearer rules enforcement. Moving beyond the game itself, it's important to understand the broader implications for the Cowboys season. This loss was particularly painful because it came at a time when Dallas was trying to solidify its playoff positioning. The NFC playoff picture is highly competitive this year with teams battling for those crucial wildcard spots and division titles. Every game, especially late in the season, becomes a must-win for teams like the Cowboys who have shown flashes of brilliance, but also some inconsistency. The fact that Dallas turned over the ball 3 times, a significant figure in a game where turnovers can decide the fate of a matchup, compounded the frustration. The Lions, on the other hand, played a solid game, averaging 7.2 yards per play, which is quite impressive for an NFL game. Their offense was clicking and their defense managed to keep the Cowboys at bay, especially in crucial moments. Let's not forget to highlight some individual performances. Dak Prescott, despite the loss, continues to be a bright spot for Dallas. His leadership, resilience, and ability to elevate the offense under pressure are qualities that give Cowboys fans hope. But his frustration over the questionable call shows that even the best players are affected by officiating and game management. On the other side, players like George Pickens and Jake Ferguson were directly impacted by those penalties, illustrating how a single call can influence player momentum and confidence. It's also worth noting that Brandon Aubrey was perfect on the night, going 545 with a long of 63 yards, proving that Dallas's special teams are reliable when called upon. This game also adds to the historical narrative of the Cowboys' recent seasons. Dallas has been a team on the rise with a promising roster built around key players like Prescott and Ferguson, but inconsistency, especially in close games, has haunted them. Their offensive scheme, which has been quite creative at times, sometimes struggles against disciplined defenses like Detroit's. The defense, led by players like linebacker Jacob Sailors, has shown flashes of brilliance, but has also been vulnerable in key moments. The game stats reflect this. The Lions' offense was efficient, and Dallas's defense allowed 32.6 yards per kickoff return, which is a concerning figure. Turnovers, penalties, and missed opportunities have become recurring themes in their recent losses. It's a pattern that the coaching staff needs to analyze deeply because if not corrected, it could cost them dearly in the playoffs. Now, considering the bigger picture, how does this game compare to other recent matchups? Dallas has faced tough opponents all season, and this game against Detroit was no different. The Lions, led by their own talented roster, have been a formidable team, especially at Ford Field, where their home crowd creates a hostile environment for visiting teams. The rivalry has been heating up lately, and games like this only add fuel to the fire. The Cowboys have historically struggled on the road, and their performance in away games this season has been a mixed bag. The consistency of their offensive line, the execution of their offensive scheme, and the discipline of their defense will be critical in their upcoming matchups. Looking ahead, the Cowboys face a crucial stretch of games, their next opponents, the stakes, and how they respond to this controversy-filled loss will define their playoff fate. Will they learn from these officiating frustrations and focus on their execution? Or will the lingering doubts and self-inflicted mistakes continue to hinder their progress? The coaching staff, led by Brian Scott and Hamer, will have to address these issues head-on. His decision to avoid commenting much on the officiating post-game suggests a focus on the team's overall performance rather than dwelling on referees. But players and fans alike know that officiating can sometimes tilt the scales in high-pressure games. As we look at the broader league landscape, this game is a microcosm of a larger trend: officiating controversies, the importance of discipline, and the fine margins that separate victory from defeat. For the Cowboys, this loss might sting in the short term, but it also offers important lessons. They need to tighten up their game, reduce turnovers, and perhaps even find ways to navigate the challenges posed by inconsistent officiating. Their defense, especially against a potent Lions offense, must improve if they want to compete at the highest level. Offensively, Prescott's leadership remains vital, and his ability to perform under pressure will be tested even more in the coming weeks. So, what can we expect moving forward? The Cowboys have a lot to analyze and improve upon. Their ability to respond to adversity, especially in games marred by controversial calls, will be critical. Will they be able to maintain their composure? Can they fix the recurring issues that have plagued them this season? These questions are at the forefront of fans' minds. The team has shown resilience before, and with key players like Prescott, Ferguson, and Aubrey, they still have the talent to turn things around, but the margin for error is razor thin. Now, the playoffs are within reach, but every game matters, especially when officiating becomes a storyline as dominant as the game itself. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this game? Do you believe the officiating played a decisive role, or do you think Dallas simply lost the battle with their own mistakes? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us, and it's the heartbeat of this community. I'll be back soon with more updates, analysis, and behind-the-scenes stories about the Dallas Cowboys. Stay tuned and let's keep the conversation alive as we navigate the exciting, unpredictable world of the NFL together. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Dallas Cowboys news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead. It's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now, let's continue with the big reveal. Looking ahead, the Cowboys have several key matchups coming up that could make or break their season. They need to regroup quickly, focus on minimizing turnovers, and perhaps most importantly, stay mentally tough despite the officiating frustrations. Their next games will test their resilience, discipline, and ability to adapt under pressure. Can Prescott continue to lead with poise? Will the coaching staff find new ways to tighten the defense? And how will the team respond to the controversy both on and off the field? These are questions that will dominate Cowboys conversations in the days to come. In the end, this game against Detroit will be remembered not just for the final score, but for the lessons it imparts. It highlights how critical game management, discipline, and refereeing are in the NFL's high-stakes environment. For Cowboys fans, it's a reminder that every play counts, every call is scrutinized, and the road to the playoffs is paved with challenges, many of which are out of a team's direct control. But if there's one thing we know, it's that the Cowboys have always been a team that fights back. They've faced setbacks before, and they've come out stronger. This season's story is still being written, and the next chapter could be one of redemption. So, keep your heads up, Cowboys Nation. Keep believing. Keep supporting your team. And stay tuned for more in-depth analysis, exclusive insights, and behind-the-scenes stories because in the end, it's not just about one game. It's about the heart, resilience, and passion that makes the Dallas Cowboys one of the most storied franchises in NFL history. And I'll be right here with you every step of the way. Thanks for being part of this journey, and let's see what the future holds for our beloved Cowboys. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Dallas Cowboys. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates. So stay tuned for the latest Dallas Cowboys news.